Blood is everything in this place.
What happens next is my favorite part.
Grab your talisman, guys, because after rewatching every single episode of Season 4 literally 300 times, I finally cracked exactly what's going down in the final. In this video, I'm going to prove to you how and why the man in yellow and the boy in white are actually brothers, playing a cosmic chess game. Hey guys, welcome back to Sam Theory. I'm Sam and today we are diving headfirst into Fromville to dissect the chaos waiting for us in the Season 4 final. Look, I still have this nagging feeling that the writers are going to drag this story out into Season 5 and leave half our questions unanswered. But I found some insane Easter eggs in the final trailer that practically confirm a few massive reveals, specifically the true nature of the man in yellow and the boy in white. Now, I'm not here to repeat the same old theories you've heard from every other YouTuber. We all know the show borrows heavily from Enid Blyton's The Faraway Tree and Robert W. Chambers' The King in Yellow. I'm not going to bore you with the history lesson. Instead, my theory boils down to one specific visceral thing: blood. In Fromville, everything comes back to blood. Think about it. The man in yellow has been using his own blood as a weapon this entire season. By slipping his blood into Henry's liquor, he completely rewrote Henry's reality. He made him hallucinate, convince him that Fromville is just one massive nightmare and the only way to wake up is to kill his own son. Does that sound familiar? It's the exact same psychological trap that broke Boyd's wife Abby. She believed death was the only escape from this nightmare. This strongly implies that the man in yellow has pulled this exact shape-shifting stunt before, back during Boyd's early days. But Henry isn't his only target. In episode 9, the man in yellow transferred his own blood into Fatima through Clara. And let's not forget how he used a fetal egg to animate that terrifying giant puppet man. But what does all of this mean? It means exactly what he says. He's playing multiple mind games at the same time, without physically being in the room. And his blood is the remote control. Well, scientifically, blood doesn't store memories, but it can hijack the brain and alter perception. Imagine a happy childhood memory, like playing catch. Now inject an internal trigger like extreme cortisol, or an external trigger like an animal neurotoxin, or even a pathogen like Toxoplasma gondii into the bloodstream. Suddenly, you get hallucinations, paralysis, and overwhelming dread. In this case, when you want to recall that memory again, that happy memory instantly mutates into a living nightmare. That's exactly how the man in yellow is manipulating Henry. Whatever's in his blood basically ran a full diagnostic scan of Henry's memories. It serves him a comforting illusion just to manipulate him into doing the unthinkable. The blood acts as a bridge to the victim's mind, weaponizing their deepest fears and regrets. He's doing the exact same thing to Fatima because he knows she possesses a unique power to stop the smiley creatures, and she's becoming a massive problem for him. But here's the catch: his blood alone doesn't cause these hallucinations. It requires his absolute undivided focus. It's a combination of blood plus telepathy. When he gave his blood to Clara, he had zero direct control over her actions because he didn't know Jade and Tabitha were heading down into tunnels alone until Clara literally walked up and told him. But when he focuses entirely on Henry, he can see, hear, and orchestrate hallucinations in real time with flawless precision. Of course, his mastery over blood goes deeper. It's how he reanimated and then rekilled that poor priest, and how he brought the puppet man to life. But here's where it gets really good, because the boy in white has been using the same trick on our favorite sheriff, Boyd. But he just didn't do it in his child form. He did it when he was an old man, chained up and imprisoned in that dungeon. Yes, I believe Martin was actually the boy in white. Think about it. Martin did nothing but try to help. By passing his blood to Boyd, he gave him terrifying hallucinations. Sure, but that exact same blood is what allowed Boyd to kill a smiley creature. If you look at the core symbolism of From, the boy in white represents good, and the man in yellow represents evil. It makes perfect sense that the boy's blood acts as a poison to the monster of Fromville. Even though Boyd's hallucinations were rough, let's be real. When an entity with supernatural powers transfer their blood into a regular human, it's obviously not gonna be a smooth ride for that human. This brings us to the boy in white's origin. No, I don't think he's one of the Ankui children. Despite all of the hints pointing that way, I believe he's a primordial entity just like his yellow counterpart. Look at the facts. Both are immortal, both can story walk, both can access the outside world, and both can directly counter each other. The only reason he appears as a child is because over centuries of war with the man in yellow, he has lost repeatedly. Tabitha and Jade discovered that they keep returning to this place over centuries to save the children, but they always fail. These two are essentially the Boy and Bite's champions. Every time they died, he grew weaker, shrinking until he was powerless enough to be captured and chained up in that dungeon as Martin. But in recent episodes, the Boy and Bite is growing. He's aging up because the current residents of Fromville are finally making the right moves, restoring his strength. But don't mistake him for a pure saint. The Boy and Bite is playing chess too, and he's entirely willing to sacrifice his pawns to win this war. When Boyd was terrified to risk his lives for the children's bones, the Boy and Bite basically told him do it anyway. Sacrifices must be made for the greater good. Yet on the flip side, he warns Victor that cutting down the bottle tree will trigger something catastrophic. So what's the play here? I believe the Boy and Bite is intentionally sacrificing Victor to buy crucial time for Jade and Tabitha. He knows Henry's mind is compromised, and he knows a tragedy is coming. He's letting Victor be the bait so his MVP pieces can survive. And while the trailer heavily hints that Jade might not make it out alive, there is a strong chance Tabitha makes it out. You might ask, if cutting the tree helps the good guys, why does everything in the trailer looks completely f***ed? Because it's a part of a massive disparate gambit. Chopping down the bottle tree will temporarily drain the Boy and Bite's remaining power. The consequences will be instant. Day turns to pitch blackness, the talisman stop working, and the smiley creatures will breach the houses. But why does the sun vanish? Simplism, my friends. I believe that daytime in Fromville is literally a localized manifestation of the Boy and Bite's power. His very existence maintains the daylight in Fromville. So when his power gets weak, daylight stops existing and total darkness rules Fromville. The talismans which you likely created fail right along with them. But this is exactly where the true wild cards come into play. Ethan, Julie, and Fatima. Each of them holds a unique power capable of turning the tide against the man in yellow. Ethan is essentially the omniscient lordkeeper of Fromville. He understands the rules of this universe intuitively. Do not be surprised if he drops a game-changing revelation in the final. Julie has the power of story walking. Up until now, only her mind has traveled through time, causing her to seizure because the shift is incomplete. If she managed a full physical time travel jump, she could alter history. We've watched Fatima building that golem for several episodes. I believe it's finally going to wake up. When Fatima's creepy smiling monster baby enters the clinic to harm her, the golem will awaken to protect its creator, giving the townspeople a fighting chance. The losses in this final are going to be devastating. A lot of beloved characters are probably going to die. But for the first time in Fromville history, the Boy and Bite's grand strategy is actually working. The endless loop is fracturing and the road to escape is finally opening up. What do you think? Are we going to see a mass casualty event, or will the townspeople finally break the cycle? Let me know in the comments. Smash that like button and subscribe to Sound Theory for more theories. Catch you in the next one.